Welcome into the Paul Farrington Show. Paul, joined by Jack Weinberger and a very special guest. We have Aaron Nagler, the co-founder of Cheesehead TV, host of Packers Daily Podcast. Aaron, thanks for coming on. It's as per usual on this show, it's great to have a Packer voice coming in.
I appreciate that. And I appreciate the invite. Really great to hear from you. I know we've been kind of batting this back and forth for a while, but it's great to finally make it happen.
Well, it's funny. This is the first time we've actually ever spoke, face to face in some sense. But one of those moments where I felt like, the show's like we're actually starting to gain some momentum here was when I guess we could say a mutual friend, Andy Herman, threw us in a group chat on Twitter before one of his live streams. And I'm going through the names. I was like, oh my, there are a couple like big time Packers people in here. And your name was one of them. I was like, all right, got a connection.
Well, I appreciate that. But yeah, man, you guys are killing it. Keep killing it. Although moving to Chicago, I'm not so sure about that. That feels like a downshift, but I'm sure you're going to make great use of it.
Yeah, it's a Vikings fan hosting a NFC North but Packers audience podcast, living in Chicago. It's
a lot going on there, man. A lot going on there.
And then you got the Steelers country banner in the background of my shot too.
Yeah, and then Jack's just kind of here. Then Jack's just kind of
here. I'm kind of just here in the bottom corner of the screen.
I get it. It's a vibe. I like it.
So we just wanted to run through some things with you, Aaron, very quickly because, this is the first time we're meeting. Cheesehead TV, just as far as getting, and we don't want to, make it a whole like interview or anything like that, but like curious, just like Cheesehead TV, getting that off the ground, when you were going through that process, it's something that we're sort of working on too with our show. Just what was that like getting that off the ground? And like, at what moment were you go like, holy crap, we kind of made it.
I've never felt like we've made it, that's for sure. But I do think there are benchmarks along the way that you can feel a little satisfied about, like the fact that we were the first blog to be credentialed, like a fan blog to be credentialed for the Combine, for the Super Bowl and things like that. But yeah, I don't know. When it was starting, it was just a lark, really. I mean, Corey, my co-founder, and I met at school. And we were very famous for arguing about the Packers. Maybe infamous is a better word. And I mean, we would go to parties and all we would do would be arguing about like Brett Favre and Mike Holmgren or whatever. And people, to the point where people would just tell us to shut up and like leave the party because we were so annoying, which I fully recognize at this point. But, we both moved to New York. We kind of kept it going as far as like weekly phone calls. And eventually it was just like, why don't we just get together and record this nonsense? And he had the idea of doing a podcast, and this was 2007 when no one was doing podcasts. So we were a little bit ahead of the curve there. We started right before Twitter started, so we were early adopters there. We were kind of just right place, right time on a lot of it. But it just grew, and grew. And the real kind of foothold I think we got right out of the gate was, I mean, at that time, especially, most of the content around football online was, kind of just reprinted articles from the paper that appeared the day before or whatever. We were kind of trying to be live, interactive, in the moment, way more than anything at that point was kind of trying, even attempting to be. So we heard from a lot of people overseas. Like we heard from a lot of service members stationed all over the world. And it was kind of wild at first, like to hear from people who were stationed in Germany or even Korea, wherever throughout the world, talking about, I'm a diehard Packers fan and you guys are really exactly what I've been looking for. That was when kind of that's to this day, our kind of tagline is devoted to Packers fans worldwide. It's for that reason, right? It's like, we know there are folks all over the globe who are just as passionate about the team as we are, even though you're not, there in Green Bay or there in Wisconsin, which of course makes it kind of funny because Corey ended up literally moving across the street from Lambeau Field. So I have to hold it down for all the remote folks now.
It is insane. Like you bring that up, and there's been several occasions we'll read our comments and it's like, oh, like Packer fan from the Netherlands and Packer fan from Germany. It's like, this is crazy.
Yeah.
Like, how is this even possible? And that kind of was, it's motivation to keep it going. Like,
Absolutely.
it really is super cool to see.
Yeah. I got to say, those are kind of I would say the most encouraging or the kind of the most fun interactions I have, especially after primetime games. Like I'm sitting here in New York, it's 12:30, 1 a.m. or whatever, and I've got someone in Sweden who's commenting. It's like, it's got to be like 5, 6 a.m. where you are. Like, that's wild to me, but that's why they are true diehards, and that's why, again, we're devoted to them.
I love that you guys started the show. Oh, sorry, Jack, go ahead.
I had to do my due diligence as a co-host, preparing for a guest like Aaron, and I discovered that you were or wanted to be or were an actor.
Yes,
initially, correct?
That is correct.
Was it your co-host who, during some speech or something, stood up and said, "Go Pack, go"?
Yeah,
is that how this all started?
So the weird kind of angle here is that Corey is younger than I am, but I had gone to another program first, DePaul in Chicago, actually, and then I left that program. I didn't really think it was a fit, and so I came into North Carolina School of the Arts, where we met. My freshman year, he was a junior, but as freshman actors, you had to give a monologue in front of the entire drama school. And at the start of it, you had to say your name and where you're from. And I said, Aaron Nagler, I'm from Appleton, Wisconsin. And I did my Hamlet soliloquy, and I go into the back and sit down. And Corey is at the back of the room there, and he just goes, "Go Pack!" like real loud and proud. And I'm like, at that moment, I didn't know Corey from Adam. Like, who is this? I don't know what's going on. I was literally sitting next to the dean. I'm like, oh, please don't associate me with anybody who's going to be crazy. Like, it was a baptism by fire when it comes to Banky. He will let you know where he stands immediately.
It's amazing how things work out. I love that you guys started the podcast too in 2007.
Oh yeah.
Before podcasting kind of became I've been on some dates before where the girl will be like, God, as long as these too many dudes have podcasts now, I'm like, oh, how am I gonna break this to
her? Yeah. But it's kind of ubiquitous now, isn't it?
I think if you do it, if you started in 2007 though, you're so far ahead of when it became cringe to have you guys.
I will say though, it's funny you bring that up because there was a stretch there where I think things went from podcast means an audio art form, whereas now most people are on YouTube and there's a very visual component. Even like Spotify and Apple, they have video embedded in the podcast, right? And it is funny that we kind of didn't even ride that wave. We weren't even kind of in touch with that until 2018 or 2019 when we started doing our watch parties and kind of noticed that wait a second, all these podcasts are on YouTube. It's wild that we were in the space for so long, but we completely missed the launch of the video side, especially because Corey owns and operates a live streaming service.
That's pretty funny.
We just weren't in tune with that part of it, and this whole kind of revolution happened on YouTube, and by 2018 we were like, oh, maybe we should do video. Yeah, that's a good idea. All right.
No, it's amazing doing this. You just get into your rhythm, and then you kind of you look back on it, you're like, I can't believe we weren't doing that before, and it's just sort of how it goes. But so we got a bunch of Packers questions for you.
All right, shoot.
We'll start off with just a training camp one. What's been your overarching, what's your biggest takeaway from training camp so far? Is it is Matthew Golden breaking out? Are you happy with Jordan Love? Is it Gannon? The number one takeaway for Aaron Nagler?
I think it is Gannon, and I think it is kind of how he's approached these practices that you get precious little time on the grass now, as they like to say in the biz, and they try to make the most of it. And certainly during the install portion of training camp, those first 10 to 12 days, I want to say, man, we saw every pressure package known to man. I keep saying this on shows, I've seen more corner blitzes this summer in Green Bay than I've probably seen in the last 10 years. They clearly, and I don't think this is going to be their base. I don't think they're going to turn into Brian Flores overnight or anything like that. But I think it's pretty clear they know they're going to have to get to the quarterback without Micah Parsons. I have little doubt there will still be an attempt to rush 4, as it were, but I think they want to make sure that arrow is in their quiver, so to speak. If and when they come up against an offensive line that has just got their number, they want to be able to turn to alternatives when it comes to trying to get the quarterback off the spot, trying to get pressure on the QB, because they have to survive until Micah Parsons comes back on the defensive side of the ball, especially when it comes to rushing the passer, something that they had real trouble doing once Micah went down last season. So that's been, like I said, that's very noticeable. Now, I don't know how much they lean into it. I don't know what it'll be game plan week to week, but there's certainly been an emphasis on we're going to work on this a lot in training camp.
I mean, injuries last year too on both sides of the ball, not just Parsons defensively, but, you know, Kraft going down early as well, was really the Achilles heel and what derailed the Packer season. Like, I thought for a long portion of last year, this is the NFC North winner. This is the top 2 seed in the NFC playoffs. And then just like that, injuries, boom. Do you think that, you know, Parsons being out 6 to 8 weeks, do you think that Green Bay will be able to survive that in an NFC North where Detroit has a fairly easy schedule and Chicago coming off the NFC North crown, Minnesota now with Kyler Murray. Don't worry, I was getting there. So how big of a factor is that now? No Micah Parsons for almost half of the season.
I mean, it's huge, obviously, and there's little doubt that this is going to have to be an offensive-led team, at least for the first month of the season or so. I don't think that's anything unusual in Green Bay. It's kind of been that way for the last 30-some years, right? But it's certainly going to be more pronounced for the first kind of 4 or 5 games until Micah is back in the fold, so to speak. But with that said, you do point out that, yeah, they lost a ton of guys, starting with Tucker Kraft in that Carolina game last year. But it is funny how Micah going down, everyone circles that, they lost the next 5 games. Yeah, but they also lost, the artist formerly known as Zach Tom for those same 5 games and the playoff game. Like, yes, you lose your best pass rusher, but you also lost your best offensive lineman.
And
but
Love
no
was
one
hurt.
remembers that.
Watson got hurt.
And Watson goes down in that Denver game. Evan Williams goes down in that Denver game. It's like they really were up against it. And people also forget that if Romeo Doubs just falls on an onside kick, they win the North. And they host the playoff game.
You guys had a brutal end to the season.
You know what I mean? So I do think they're equipped to at least stay afloat. Like, I think they can go 3-1 in that first month, but the offense has to come out of the gate on fire, right? They're going to have to score points. And there's little doubt that this is a team capable of doing that. It's just a question of, you know, how in sync are the offensive pieces right out of the gate. It's exciting that you've got Tucker Kraft, Christian Watson, Jaden Reed, Josh Jacobs all on the field together, literally for the first time ever. That's encouraging, right? But are they in sync enough right out of the gate in a very tough environment in Minnesota in week 1? But also the offensive line was such an issue last year. Now, with that said, they still had a top 10 offense by most metrics, but they have to be better and more consistent up front or it's going to get real tough real early.
So kind of piggybacking off the offense, one of the quotes of the offseason, I think, for any NFC North team is when LaFleur came out and said, you know, like, we want Jordan to rip it pretty much this year. Oh, yeah. And you look across all the metrics, right? It's like Jordan Love, it's funny, Aaron, as a Viking fan talking to Packers fans,
right?
It's like I think I'm more complimentary than any Vikings fan, probably in the history of Vikings fandom toward Green Bay.
Right.
And like, if I, say something along the lines like, oh, I'd rather have Caleb 5 years from now than Jordan. It's like everything I've said gets erased. I did a show that came out today, and I just talked about, like, I think Jordan Love's a legitimate MVP candidate this year. And all the metrics, he's basically top 10 or top 5 even in most of the important
every
metrics.
Advanced metric. I mean,
yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
And when I hear Matt LaFleur say, hey, we want to let him rip it this year, to me, that's like, okay, they're taking that next step that they need to as an offense. What do you like? Do you want to see that as a Packer fan? And then do you expect them to actually follow through and let Jordan have a little bit more control?
Yeah, that second part is the real question. I'll believe it when I see it, kind of thing, because I think LaFleur gets off the bus wanting to run the ball, and I think he's going to say these things in the summer. You know, I kind of got him in a press conference right at the start of the training camp where I asked him, he's going to let Jordan Love cook this year, and he said, "Oh yeah, we're going to let him cook." But
was that you?
Oh yeah, that was me. He was somewhat joking. That. I was kind of joking, but I needed it for social media purposes, which we got, which was awesome. But I think there's little doubt. You talk about Jordan as an MVP candidate. I think that's absolutely possible if Matt LaFleur hands him the keys. Like, Matthew Stafford's doing yeoman's work, phenomenal year last year, but how many 1-yard touchdowns did he have? And I get it. He's thrown to some really talented dudes, but there's a lot of talent on Green Bay's roster if Jordan Love's allowed to utilize it. Now, even with all that said, some of that is Jordan Love, like at the line of scrimmage, operating, like if he's got a light box, he's going to check to a run, as he should, right? But I do think there's a element there where, okay, let's stop pounding our head against a wall until it bleeds with the running game when, yeah, maybe throw it on first down a few more times. Then again, I don't think it's going to be, we're going to spread it out. We're going to go 5 wide. We're going to let Jordan Love chuck it 45 times a game. I don't see that. It ain't 2011 anymore, but I do think he's going to have a little bit more control. I think they are going to lean into up-tempo / no huddle type things a little more often to give Jordan Love a little more autonomy. And hey, you heard LaFleur talk about it. Best he's ever seen at the line of scrimmage. I mean, that's a pretty significant quote. That is, and he wasn't joking. So it's certainly something that I'm a little bit reserved. Like, I'll believe it when I see it, simply because there are moments, especially last year, where you're like, doesn't LaFleur know the forward pass has been invented? Like, it's hard to watch at times. I mean, you're a Vikings fan. Remember the game in Lambeau? They couldn't run it enough in that game. Not run it enough. So
yeah, I mean, you could have done whatever. You could have ran backwards. You guys would have won that game.
You're probably right, because you had 9 at quarterback. But those are the types of things, the instances where you're like, okay, I'll kind of believe it when I see it, but it does make sense, especially as far as, again, that collection of talent, Jordan's maturation and development as a quarterback, and kind of arriving now in his prime. Like, this is next 3-4 years is the prime window for him to just rip the league apart.
Jordan Love also, like, we have seen on numerous occasions his ability to take that to the next level.
Oh yeah.
I don't love his consistency with that. But I mean, the first half of that Chicago Bears playoff game, he looked like a world beater.
Yep.
I saw him live and in person in Pittsburgh Sunday Night Football. I said, this team looks unbeatable.
Yep.
But Paul can attest that. I came on to our show the next day and said, this team's winning the Super Bowl.
Yeah, it's horrible.
It looked like it that night, that's for sure.
Yeah. We have seen him able to take that step. And somebody else that we saw take a bit of a step, Caleb Williams. Now, a lot of our fans are mixed on Caleb Williams. And you are probably too.
No.
Try to take off the.
I'm not mixed. I've been very consistent on Caleb. I think he's talented as hell. I think the upside is undeniable, right? He's got to find consistency. That's the bugaboo. And I don't think that's being unfair. I don't think that's slanderous.
Not at all.
But you've certainly seen the highs, right? The incredible playmaking ability. There, I can't take that away from him. And I really wish I could. But yeah, no, man, I think Caleb's a legit talent, and he's going to be a problem for the North and the league for a long time.
So I wasn't a Caleb Williams guy out of college, but he kind of proved me wrong a little bit last year. I still see some of his flaws, but trying to remove that Packer hat as best he can, and the Packer brain as best he can. The next 4 or 5 years, who would you rather have as your quarterback?
Jordan Love. It's not even a question. It's not even a question.
Couldn't even get it out. I mean,
because I get asked this all the time, and it's like, it feels like a leading question. It's like, no, I appreciate the guy who plays the position most completely. Like, no doubt, there are amazing plays from Caleb that you absolutely completely are in awe of. I mean, the touchdown against the Rams, that's one of the most amazing football plays I have ever seen in my entire life. And I can say that as a Packers fan. It's like, that's an incredible play. But I've also watched him throw a season away with an interception. I've seen him not be able to hit an out route with consistency. Don't even begin to talk about how his play caller coddles him at times and protects him with all these bootlegs and making sure that he's not asked to do everything Jordan Love is asked to do. Maybe he gets there eventually. But you're talking about a complete ownership of the position? Give me Jordan Love every time, and especially for the next 5 years.
No, I would agree. I think Love is a much more like polished passer. I think better downfield passer. I would take Jordan Love as well in the next. What about you, Paul? Where do you lean?
I might get a little greedy because right now I think Jordan Love's better, and I mean, again, I'm a big Jordan Love fan. I think I'd buy into the hype and take Caleb again. Thinking the ceiling for Caleb is higher than Jordan's, but
here's the question,
I think the floor for Love is higher than Caleb.
Here's the question, too. It's like, it's not even do you. You got to trust the fact that look at the jump Caleb made from his rookie year to his second season with a new coach, a offensive-minded coach who really put him in great positions. If he's able to continue to develop under Ben Johnson and those two stay together, yeah, they're going to be a problem.
I think Ben Johnson,
I don't love it, but that's for sure.
Yeah, he's a huge part of that too, though. Like you read the Athletic article that came out on Ben Johnson. Like, I mean, all these football guys are kind of lunatics, but Ben Johnson, like, it almost seems like he takes it to another level with just, the dedication. And if him and Caleb, that duo continues, like you said, to ascend at the rate they are, like, okay, all the physical attributes of Caleb are
they're undeniable. But here's the flip side of that coin, to quote Heat. If you look at the games that they won last year with so many turnovers, so many fourth quarter comebacks, so many times that the game seemingly was out of reach and or they had some miraculous kind of bounce back and they win those games, right? Ben himself said at the podium, we're the number one regression candidate. And I don't think they're 100%. Under any illusions, right? What happens when adversity strikes? What happens when you're not winning all these games and winning the division and having all this success? If there's one thing the NFL has shown, it's like sustained success is really tough in the NFL. It's why you look at teams like the run the Patriots had, hell, the Packers, the Steelers for a very long time. It's like it is hard to do. And it's easy to jump up one season. Can you do that on the regular again and again and again? That remains to be seen with that duo and with that team. Those are the things that you have to answer throughout a career as opposed to just having one season.
Just like walking around Chicago right now, the vibe is so high, and the expectations. A scary thing about setting those high expectations is if you don't meet them, like that, setting the bar high means you have to jump pretty high to get there.
And then when you don't, and you have to move to Hammond, Indiana, Godspeed, Bears fans.
So we talked about this too last episode. Those numbers, which are hard to ignore, where Chicago was only plus 26 in point differential, but plus 22 in turnover margin.
Turnovers, right?
Which I don't know if the plus 22 TO margin is possible to repeat.
Oh, there's no chance. There's no chance. Not the way they did last year.
No, you can't.
Absolutely.
You can't.
I mean, even if it's plus 8 or plus 9, which is still great. That's Jack, 3 less wins.
One thing I do think people should pay attention to is the turnover margin and the last second wins. Those are things that you just really can't replicate. How much of that can be overcome if Caleb goes from good to great? And if you have a great quarterback, he'll make up some of that fall off in those categories.
And it comes back again. What have they done really well to kind of complement him? People talk about all the playmaking and maybe the ups and downs as far as his game goes, but the way Ben Johnson runs the football, and it's not, we've forgotten how the forward pass has been invented, but it is effective and it keeps them ahead of the sticks.
Explosive.
It keeps the playbook wide open for Ben Johnson. That helps your quarterback. It's like, I understand leaning into the running game if it's keeping you ahead of the sticks and you're not sitting there in 2nd and 9 on the regular, right? I mean, look no further than the game they had against the Eagles last year. They went into Philadelphia and pushed the Eagles around. That doesn't just happen. And that helps your QB stay in manageable situations. So that to me is a big component to watch for this year, especially you do expect turnovers will come back to earth. Probably, those fourth quarter comebacks might taper off a little bit, but it's a lot easier if you don't have to come back. If you just control the football, and you do that by running the football, and they do that very, very well.
It's a scorching sports summer, and you can make all of your picks on Prize Picks. Women's basketball and baseball are heating up, and every football preseason game kicks off this month on Prize Picks. And with big tennis slams and major golf tournaments on the horizon, there's no better place for all your summer sports picks than Prize Picks, America's #1 sports picks app. And Prize Picks makes it super easy. All I need to do is pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stats. Then I submit my lineup and I can follow along with the progress right in the app. It makes watching the game even more exciting when I know every moment can win me money. The football preseason is here, and there's no better place to run your game than Prize Picks, America's #1 sports picks app. We've got star players on new teams and a rookie class ready to take over, all while teams look to get started on the biggest football season yet. Make a lineup with player stats, pick game winners, spreads or totals, and combine your picks in the same lineup. All on Prize Picks, now available in all 50 states, including California, Texas, Georgia, and Florida. Download the app today and use code CLNS to get $150 instantly in lineups if you win your first $5 lineup. Again, download the app today and use code CLNS to get $150 instantly in lineups if you win your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, America's #1 sports picks app. So looking ahead to just a couple prediction stuff here as we're getting towards the end. We're talking about, expectations and the Super Bowl. first, is that I'm assuming I think I know what the answer is going to be here. How big of a Super Bowl threat do you think the Packers are? And then if you have the list in your head, where would you rank them in the NFC as far as your pick to get there?
Now, I don't do rankings because I think...
Oh, come on. That's our industry.
I know, and that's why we're probably not as popular and as big as we should be. But I will say this. It's not a mystery. It's a war of attrition. And if the Packers stay healthy, absolutely they're a Super Bowl contender, possible favorite in the NFC. Look no further than the AFC and NFC championship games last year. The 4 healthiest teams were in those games. Mm-hmm. You know, it's not a big kind of, oh my gosh, is this team that, this, or the other thing. You can have the most talented team. You can have all these great players, but if they're not available, it makes it tough. And the Packers
look what happened to Denver.
Example. And look at Denver. I mean, and when do those injuries strike? Do you get them early in the season? Managing your roster now in the NFL is way more important than it used to be. You know, as far as back in the day, guy gets hurt, he's done for the year, he's on the shelf. Like, you would watch that kind of dwindle, as it were, as the guys who were available, the talent that you had on hand. But now, because you can bring guys back, you are allowed, guys can come up from the practice squad 3 times to fill some of those voids, etc. Like, that management of the attrition of the NFL is insanely important. I think the Packers do a really good job there, and that helps them. But yeah, if you lose 5 or 6 of your best players in early December, that makes it tough. Yeah. Makes it real tough. But yeah, if the ball bounces right injury-wise, no question they're a Super Bowl contender.
So next February, let's say the Packers are fully healthy. Do you think a fully healthy Packers is enough to take down Aaron Rodgers in the Super Bowl?
Yes, I do. It'll be awesome to watch. Everyone I know is rooting for this outcome because, man, could you even fathom Mike McCarthy and Aaron Rodgers heading up the team they beat in the Super Bowl to play their old team?
I think that's what it's going to be.
Incredible.
Maybe a Vikings Packers NFC championship.
Yeah, the Vikings finding a new quarterback probably. But so here's my question: are you guys going to pay Joey Porter, or are you going to trade him to us? That's what I'm wondering.
I'm really, really, really hoping we keep Joey Porter.
You've been big on him.
He's a really good player.
Yeah, I love Joey Porter. We
could use the corner help. I know that.
I think I'm too high on the Steelers this year, but I'm expecting AFC chip or bust.
Wow.
I'm expecting.
I think you are probably a little, but hey, crazier stuff has happened. I'll tell you what, no one was picking the Seahawks this time last year to win the Super Bowl.
No. I'm expecting Rodgers' love.
So you don't do rankings. So I was going to ask you for NFC North predictions. Can you say then who you think is the most dangerous team in the division to Green Bay this year? I'm assuming you're not going to say us, so Chicago or Detroit.
No, I'd probably say Chicago. And I think that's no slight on the Lions. I do think they do have an easy schedule. They are well coached. I love Dan Campbell. But I do think the Bears, because of the brand of football they play, again, running the football, been Packers' Achilles heel, run defense for a long time. Ben Johnson seems to have a really good handle on how to operate against Matt LaFleur. I don't know, man. It's going to be fascinating to watch that play out. But I will say, the Vikings are not pushovers. And I know they're kind of the forgotten talking point in the North. But, man, KOC is a really, really, really good coach. And I know there's probably some grumbling locally, the fandom, whatever, about certain things, especially the quarterback position, or the handling of it. But, man, they are going to be right there. They're going to be a tough out each and every week, and they could shock some people. That would not be a surprise to me.
Yeah, and I just want to say for the Lions fans who get mad that they say we don't give them enough credit or talk about them, that the stories just aren't as compelling in Detroit right now as the other 3 teams to me. But I think that offense, when they're clicking, if they can survive the injuries themselves,
they're scary as hell.
Yeah, they'll be right there as well. Yep. All right, we're going to end with just rapid fire questions. We got 8 to 10 questions here.
Hit me.
Let's just see how it goes. I'll rip them off.
All right.
Okay. All right. Jordan Love, best quarterback in the NFC North. Yes or no?
Yes.
Matt LaFleur, Packers coach in 2027.
Yes
or no?
Yes.
Packers to win 11 plus games this year.
Give me just under. I got him at 10.
Oh, okay. Tucker Kraft, all pro.
Yes.
Matthew Golden, over 1,000 receiving yards.
No. Too many mouths to feed.
I agree with you. Caleb Williams will eventually be better than Jordan Love.
No.
What's your favorite Packers moment
ever in my life?
Ever? Yep.
Wow. I don't know. There's so many. My earliest memory in my entire life is my grandfather taking me to Lambeau Field when I was 3 years old, and that sticks out. First time I ever went to Lambeau. But also watching the Packers win a Super Bowl with all my friends in North Carolina in 96, and then in 2010 watching the Packers win a Super Bowl with my daughters and my family. That was amazing. So
don't talk about 2010.
Yeah, you asked for my memories, sir.
I don't even know what this feeling would be like. I can't even relate.
So there are many.
Favorite player
of all time? Man, I don't know. It's Bart Starr all time for the Packers, but that I ever witnessed with my own two eyes, it's Sterling Sharp.
Yeah, Sterling Sharp seems to be any Packers fan I talk to. They just kind of go like,
he was a man among boys. I'll never see the like again. He was incredible.
And then to wrap it up, Packers win the NFC North.
Yes.
Packers reach the divisional round.
Yes.
Packers make the NFC Championship game.
Yes.
Packers make the Super Bowl.
Yes.
Packers win the Super Bowl.
Of course, it's our birthright. Yes.
Who do they beat in the Super Bowl?
Probably the Bills. Which is going to be hilarious because then all the Josh Allen stands will have an entire offseason to be kind of, torn between we finally got to the Super Bowl, but we lost. But that's a common thing in Buffalo, so they'll just be calling back to their 90s roots.
I got to ask Aaron one more thing. Aaron, do you think that Matthew Golden will score a touchdown this year inside Lambeau Field?
Let's hope so, man.
That's what Jack asked him.
Oh, my God. Don't get me started. Yes.
At the draft. When he was drafted, we were able to get into we were credentialed. So I was able to get in. I asked him a question. I said, I'm like, Matthew, how long will your first Lambeau leap last? And he's like, brother, I'll be up there for a minute, for a long time.
Still waiting.
Still waiting. Maybe I was the one who got a curse.
So it's your fault is what you're saying.
I want to be the one right there with Paul to catch him in his first Lambeau leap.
That's good. I like it. Well, you better be there week 3. Against the Falcons, because that's when it's going to happen.
Thanks, Aaron, for hopping on. You guys check out Cheesehead TV, Packers Daily. Yeah, a lot of people, when they have guests on, they're like, hey, shout out where you can find your stuff. But, I'm not even going to ask that because the people who are listening to this, they know where to go to find Aaron.
Yeah, and if they're sitting here going, who is this idiot? I don't need them hitting up. So it's all good.
Thanks so much for coming on. Really appreciate it.
Thanks a lot for having me, guys.
All right. See you soon.